In today's world, it's easy to see why we seek happiness through material possessions, achievements, or the approval of others. We often think that if we get this or that, we'll feel satisfied and happy. However, the sad truth is, when we finally achieve these things, the satisfaction is only temporary. This is something that the Stoics, those wise philosophers, understood well. They didn't argue against owning things, but they emphasized that these material possessions should never be the source of our happiness. Instead, true happiness comes from our character, our wisdom, and our ability to live in alignment with our values. Imagine, instead of getting caught up in the cycle of chasing material goods, we find joy in the simple things around us. A simple meal, a cozy home, or just walking outside to enjoy fresh air. The Stoics believed that when we stop attaching our happiness to things, we free ourselves from the constant chase for the next bigger, better thing. We learn to appreciate what we already have. In reality, letting go of attachment to material things isn't about living a life of scarcity or rejecting the world. It's about realizing the impermanence of everything. Everything in life is temporary, from the things we own to the people we love. The moment we accept this truth, we begin to understand that attachment to anything outside of ourselves is a form of suffering. We project expectations onto people and possessions, and when those things inevitably change, we experience pain. But when we let go of attachment, we free ourselves from this cycle of suffering. We begin to live in peace, knowing that everything is temporary and that true happiness comes from within, not from the external world. So, how do we start practicing the act of letting go of attachment? Start by taking a closer look at what you're attached to. What are the things, people, or ideas that you feel define your happiness? Take some time to reflect on these attachments and ask yourself, what would happen if I didn't have this? Would I still be okay? The more you reflect on this, the more you'll realize that your happiness isn't tied to anything outside of yourself. You can create peace and contentment in the present moment without depending on any external circumstances. Letting go of attachment is a practice. It takes time, patience, and self-awareness. But as you practice, you'll begin to feel lighter. You'll stop carrying the weight of wanting, needing, or fearing loss. Instead, you'll embrace the freedom that comes from living in the present, appreciating what you have, and accepting that nothing lasts forever. By doing so, you open yourself up to a deeper joy and fulfillment that comes from within and cannot be taken from you. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes when we stop tying our happiness to the outside world. When we let go of attachment, we stop relying on things that are beyond our control and start cultivating a sense of inner peace. This is where true happiness lies, not in what we possess, but in who we are. Let go of attachment, and you'll find the freedom to live a life of purpose, clarity, and joy. Life isn't always smooth sailing. We all face challenges, unexpected twists, and obstacles that seem to come out of nowhere. It's easy in those moments to feel frustrated, defeated, or powerless. The natural response is to view these struggles as roadblocks, as things standing in our way, preventing us from moving forward. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if we stopped seeing adversity as something to avoid or fear, and instead saw it as an opportunity? This is exactly what Stoicism teaches. Adversity isn't an obstacle to our happiness. It's a chance to practice virtue and become stronger. Imagine for a moment approaching every difficulty in your life with the mindset that it's not happening to you, but for you. The Stoics were masters at rethinking hardship, seeing it not as something to resist, but as an opportunity to develop qualities like patience, resilience, and gratitude. They believed that life's challenges aren't just inconveniences, they are the raw material from which we can build a better version of ourselves. So, instead of resisting challenges, the Stoics taught us to embrace them. Each difficulty we face becomes an opportunity to practice virtues like courage, wisdom, and self-control. This shift in mindset completely changes how we experience adversity. When you stop viewing challenges as personal attacks or roadblocks to your happiness, and start seeing them as opportunities to practice virtue, something incredible happens. You free yourself from the emotional weight of the situation. You realize that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to control your response. And that, in itself, is the ultimate freedom. Think back to times in your life when you faced difficulties. Maybe it was a job loss, a breakup, or a personal failure. It's easy to view these as negative events, filled with hurt, anxiety, and frustration. But when you change the lens through which you view them, you can see that these struggles offered something valuable. They gave you a chance to develop resilience, to be patient with yourself and others, and to practice acceptance. Instead of focusing on the injustice of the situation or the frustration of not getting what you wanted, you can focus on what you can learn from it. How can you grow from this experience? What new strength can you cultivate? It's all about reframing the situation. When we face adversity, it's tempting to fall into the victim mentality, feeling like life is happening to us and there's nothing we can do about it. But the Stoics remind us that this is a disempowered perspective. Life doesn't just happen to us, it happens through us. How we choose to see adversity makes all the difference. If you can learn to view every challenge as an opportunity to practice virtue, you'll unlock a new way of living. You'll stop seeing yourself as powerless and start recognizing your ability to turn difficult moments into sources of strength. Take patience, for example. When things aren't going your way, it's easy to get frustrated. You might feel rushed, irritated, or upset. But what if, instead of getting upset, you saw the moment of waiting as an opportunity to practice patience? Instead of feeling like the universe is working against you, you can use that time to pause, reflect, and cultivate calm. The Stoics believed that patience is a virtue that doesn't just happen automatically. It's something we have to practice. And adversity gives us the perfect chance to do just that. Every time you face a challenge, no matter how small, you're given an opportunity to practice patience. Resilience is another virtue that adversity helps us build. Life is full of curveballs, and things don't always go as planned. When life falls apart, it's easy to feel hopeless or defeated. But the Stoics knew that it's our ability to bounce back from difficulties that ultimately strengthens us. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from confronting them head-on and learning how to rise above them. Every difficulty you face is an opportunity to become more resilient. The Stoics would say that this is the path to true strength, enduring hardship, learning from it, and coming out on the other side stronger than before. And then there's gratitude. It may seem strange to be thankful for adversity, but the Stoics understood that hardship often comes with valuable lessons. When we face difficult times, we're forced to look deeper within ourselves. We may discover new strengths we didn't know we had or gain an appreciation for things we once took for granted. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." In other words, the things that stand in our way, the obstacles we face, are often the very things that lead us to personal growth. They shape us, refine us, and help us grow wiser. And that's where the real power of reframing adversity comes in. It's not just about making you stronger in the moment, it changes your whole relationship with life. Instead of fearing the next setback, you begin to embrace it. You stop seeing difficulty as something that needs to be avoided and start seeing it as an opportunity to grow. The more you practice this mindset, the less fear you'll have about the unknown. You'll stop shrinking from challenges and start welcoming them, knowing that each one is an opportunity to practice virtue and build a life filled with purpose and inner peace. It's not about being fearless. The Stoics never suggested that we should avoid the pain and discomfort that life inevitably brings. What they teach us is that while we cannot control the challenges life throws at us, we have full control over how we respond to them. The key to living a fulfilled life is in how we handle adversity, not in avoiding it, but in learning from it. As we grow, we'll inevitably face even more challenges, personal, professional, and emotional. But every time we choose to embrace discomfort, we become more resilient. Each time we step out of our comfort zone, we expand our ability to handle what comes next. By doing this repeatedly, we build mental, emotional, and physical endurance. This is what Stoicism teaches us, to not only survive hardship, but to thrive through it. When we embrace adversity, we're training ourselves to face whatever life throws our way. That doesn't mean we won't feel pain or frustration, but it means that we can approach those feelings with the strength to endure. It's like building muscle. The more we work on it, the stronger we get. Think about fear. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience, and it often keeps us from pursuing our dreams or taking bold actions. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown. These are all natural responses to uncertainty. But what if we decided not to let fear control us? What if we chose to confront our fears rather than avoid them? This is where the Stoic philosophy really shines. The Stoics didn't believe that fear should stop us. Instead, they saw it as an opportunity to practice courage. By facing our fears head-on, we build courage. And in doing so, we transform the very thing that scares us into a source of strength. Every fear we face makes us a little bit stronger, a little bit braver. Courage, according to the Stoics, is not the absence of fear, it's the ability to act despite fear. You don't need to run from fear, you need to walk through it. And as you walk through it, you'll find that the fear becomes less intimidating. It may never disappear entirely, but with each challenge, we gain a little more resilience, a little more peace, and a little more self-awareness. When we face adversity and learn from it, we also develop gratitude for the lessons it brings. Think back to difficult moments in your life, moments that, at the time, seemed insurmountable. You probably couldn't see it at the time, but those challenges were shaping you. They were teaching you patience, resilience, and gratitude. You learned things about yourself you wouldn't have discovered if everything had gone smoothly. And now, you have the ability to look back and see the value of those experiences. This is the Stoic practice of reframing adversity. It's the realization that obstacles are not just hindrances, but also opportunities for growth. They give us a chance to deepen our character and practice virtues. Rather than seeing life as a series of obstacles, the Stoics teach us to see them as gifts that help us become better versions of ourselves. When you start to view your challenges this way, you stop fearing adversity. Instead, you welcome it. You begin to see that the hardships you face today are preparing you for what's to come. They're helping you develop the qualities you need to navigate the future with strength, wisdom, and grace. The more we embrace adversity, the more we develop these virtues, and the more prepared we are for the next challenge. And this is the key. Adversity doesn't make us weaker. It makes us stronger. Every time we face difficulty and choose to respond with courage and wisdom, we're building the inner resources to face even more significant challenges in the future. This is why the Stoics viewed hardship as a necessary part of life. They didn't avoid it, they embraced it. They knew that through suffering, we become better versions of ourselves. But here's the thing, you don't have to wait for adversity to come to practice this. You can practice resilience every day. You can practice patience in moments of frustration, practice courage when you face fear, and practice gratitude when life doesn't go as planned. These practices don't require some external circumstance to begin. You can begin today, right now, in your current life. Every moment is an opportunity to practice the virtues that Stoicism teaches us. And every time you do, you build a little more strength, a little more peace, and a little more joy. As we move forward in life, the challenges will keep coming. But with each challenge, we grow. We grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. This isn't a path of avoiding discomfort or fear. It's about learning to walk through them and becoming better for it. It's about taking the lessons from adversity and using them to build a life of strength, wisdom, and peace. And in doing so, we cultivate the greatest kind of freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from suffering, and freedom to live a life aligned with our values. Now, let's talk about the practice of negative visualization. It may sound strange, even counterintuitive, But this Stoic practice can help us build resilience, prepare for adversity, and foster gratitude for the present. Negative visualization is simply the practice of imagining the worst-case scenario, not to dwell in negativity, but to mentally prepare ourselves for the challenges life can throw at us. The Stoics believed that we often fear loss, pain, or failure because we haven't fully considered the possibility of those things happening. By imagining them in our minds, we reduce their power over us. We realize that while we can't control what life throws our way, we can control how we respond to it. Negative visualization is a way of training our minds to face hardship before it even happens, so when it does come, we are not blindsided. Think about the things you cherish in life. It could be your health, your loved ones, your career, or your possessions. We often take these things for granted, assuming they will always be there. But life is unpredictable. Things can change in an instant. So, what if we took a moment each day to imagine losing them? What would happen if we lost our job? What if we lost a loved one or faced a health crisis? These thoughts may cause discomfort, but they also bring clarity. By imagining these losses, we begin to appreciate what we have right now. We stop taking things for granted and start recognizing their true value. This practice isn't meant to make us anxious or fearful. On the contrary, it helps us become more grounded. It prepares us for the possibility of loss, but also gives us the strength to handle it if it ever comes to pass. And the beauty of negative visualization is that by imagining the worst, we often realize that we have the inner resources to deal with it. We begin to trust ourselves more, knowing that we can handle challenges when they arise. Imagine if you started your day by reflecting on the things you could lose. Perhaps you think about the relationships that matter most to you. You might reflect on the possibility of things changing in your career or personal life. You're not trying to focus on the negative, but simply acknowledging that life is unpredictable. By doing this, you take away some of the fear. Instead of being blindsided by loss, you've already mentally prepared for it. When you do lose something, you will already have built emotional endurance through this practice. And here's the kicker. By imagining the worst, we also begin to see that many of our fears are exaggerated. For example, we fear failure so intensely that it often paralyzes us from acting. But when we visualize what failure might look like, we realize it's not as catastrophic as we once thought. In fact, failure might offer us valuable lessons, and even the ability to start over. Life doesn't stop after failure. It's an opportunity to rise again with more wisdom and strength. The Stoics didn't see negative visualization as a tool to invite bad things into their lives. They understood that adversity would come whether they were prepared for it or not. What they focused on was making sure they were mentally ready to handle it. By contemplating loss, they could approach life's ups and downs with composure and wisdom. Negative visualization also helps us become more grateful for what we have. The more we imagine losing what we love, the more we start to appreciate it. If you think about the health of a loved one, for instance, you realize how fragile life can be. By acknowledging that they could be taken from you at any time, you stop taking them for granted. Instead, you treasure each moment with them. This practice doesn't lead to anxiety. It leads to gratitude and presence. The goal isn't to live in fear or to constantly dwell on worst-case scenarios. Rather, it's to cultivate an attitude of preparedness. We can't avoid life's challenges, but we can approach them with a sense of calm and readiness, knowing that we've already mentally prepared ourselves. Life will throw challenges our way, but by practicing negative visualization, we build the resilience to face whatever comes with equanimity. This practice also helps us focus on what truly matters. When we recognize that time is limited, we start using it wisely. We spend less time chasing after things that don't serve our well-being or growth. Instead, we focus on the people, experiences, and values that matter most to us. When you live with the understanding that everything is temporary, including your possessions and relationships, you start living more intentionally. You begin to appreciate what you have in the present moment, because you know that nothing lasts forever. This awareness isn't about making us fearful or sad, it's about helping us embrace the impermanence of life and use it to enrich our daily experience. In a way, negative visualization brings clarity. It removes the illusion that we control everything in our lives. It shows us that we don't, and that's okay. It also gives us the freedom to live with less attachment, knowing that no matter what happens, we can handle it. Life is fragile, and by accepting that fragility, we become stronger. Now, let's shift gears and discuss something equally important: embracing discomfort. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of comfort. We seek convenience, easy solutions, and instant gratification. But what if I told you that the key to growth and resilience lies not in avoiding discomfort, but in learning to embrace it? The Stoics understood this concept deeply. They didn't avoid pain, struggle, or adversity. Instead, they saw discomfort as an essential part of life that could strengthen the mind, build character, and cultivate resilience. It's only through facing discomfort head-on that we can grow into the people we want to become. Life, as we know, is filled with challenges. Whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, discomfort is inevitable. But rather than running from it or trying to escape it, we can learn to confront it. The Stoics believed that discomfort isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Think about this. When you push your body physically, whether you're lifting weights, running, or stretching, you experience discomfort. But over time, that discomfort leads to strength. Your muscles grow, your endurance improves, and you become more resilient. The same principle applies to our emotional and mental growth. Facing discomfort, rather than avoiding it, helps us build the emotional resilience needed to navigate life's challenges. For example, let's talk about fear. We all experience fear at some point. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty. The natural reaction is to want to avoid it. We don't want to feel that discomfort. But what if instead of avoiding fear, we leaned into it? What if we viewed fear as an opportunity to practice courage and build mental fortitude? The Stoics understood that fear is often just a reaction to something unknown or uncertain. And the only way to overcome it is to confront it directly. Whether it's taking on a difficult project, having a challenging conversation, or stepping out of your comfort zone, the act of facing fear is what strengthens you. Over time, each encounter with fear builds your resilience, and you become less controlled by it. The same goes for emotional discomfort. How often do we try to avoid feelings of sadness, frustration, or disappointment? We distract ourselves, push our emotions down, or find ways to numb them. But the Stoic approach is different. They understood that avoiding discomfort only leads to more suffering. By embracing and processing our emotions, we give ourselves the space to learn from them, heal, and grow. For instance, if you experience failure, it's easy to get discouraged. You might feel like giving up. But rather than letting failure defeat you, the Stoic mindset encourages you to view it as an opportunity for growth. Every failure is a lesson. It teaches us about our weaknesses, our fears, and our limits. And it's through this discomfort that we develop resilience. The Stoics didn't just practice discomfort on an emotional level, they also applied it to their daily lives. They would deliberately expose themselves to discomfort, whether it was through physical challenges, fasting, or engaging in difficult tasks. This wasn't to punish themselves, but to train themselves to be less reliant on comfort and convenience. Consider, for example, the practice of taking cold showers. At first glance, this might seem like an unnecessary hardship, but the Stoics understood the value of intentionally seeking discomfort to build mental strength. The shock of cold water forces your body to react, and over time, this exposure to discomfort strengthens your willpower and resilience. It's not just about enduring the cold, it's about training yourself to handle discomfort in any form. But discomfort doesn't always need to be physical. Emotional discomfort, like having difficult conversations or facing situations that push us outside of our comfort zone, is just as important. The Stoic approach teaches us that the key to overcoming discomfort is to not shy away from it, but to lean into it with awareness and control. By doing so, we train ourselves to navigate life's challenges with composure. And here's something even more powerful. When we choose to embrace discomfort, we also begin to realize that much of the discomfort we experience is temporary. It's not as unbearable as it initially seems. Yes, discomfort can be painful in the moment, but with each experience, we build the mental strength to handle even more. Just like physical exercise, emotional and mental discomfort helps us grow stronger over time. Another key benefit of embracing discomfort is that it forces us to develop patience. Patience is not something that comes naturally. It's a skill that must be practiced. And adversity, whether physical or emotional, provides the perfect opportunity to practice patience. When we're faced with challenges, we are forced to wait, to endure, and to find peace in the midst of difficulty. The more we practice this, the more resilient we become, and the more patient we are with life's ups and downs. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the idea of facing discomfort in your own life. Think about the areas where you might be avoiding discomfort. Are there situations or experiences you're running from because they're too difficult or uncomfortable? Are there challenges you're procrastinating on because they make you uneasy? What would happen if you chose to embrace them instead? In the face of discomfort, the Stoic approach is all about developing inner strength and resilience. It's about seeing discomfort not as something to avoid, but as something to learn from. When we confront adversity head-on, we realize that we have the strength to endure. This practice doesn't just build our resilience, it transforms us into stronger, more capable individuals. Now, let's talk about something that seems counterintuitive in today's world: practicing gratitude. In a society where we are constantly encouraged to want more, chase the next big thing, and never be satisfied, the practice of gratitude offers a radically different approach to life. What if I told you that the key to true happiness and fulfillment doesn't come from acquiring more, but from appreciating what you already have? Gratitude is often viewed as something we feel when things go well, or when we get what we want. But in Stoic philosophy, gratitude goes far deeper than that. It's not just about feeling thankful when things are going your way. It's about recognizing the value of everything in your life, both good and bad, and understanding that each experience has something to offer. The Stoics believed that cultivating gratitude was essential for living a peaceful, fulfilling life. They didn't rely on external circumstances to dictate their happiness. Instead, they focused on their ability to choose their responses to life, regardless of what happened around them. This is where gratitude comes in. It allows us to shift our focus away from what we lack and toward what we already have. Think about it. How often do you focus on what you don't have? Maybe you wish you had more money, a better job, or a different relationship. It's easy to fall into this mindset of constantly striving for more. But the Stoic mindset encourages us to pause and appreciate what's already in front of us. It encourages us to see the abundance in our lives, even in the smallest things. Gratitude helps us do that. It shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. When we focus on what we already have, rather than what we're missing, we begin to cultivate a deeper sense of contentment and peace. You don't need to have everything to be happy. You just need to recognize the richness of what's already around you. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote often about the practice of gratitude in his meditations. He would reflect on the people in his life, the opportunities he had, and even the challenges he faced. Instead of complaining about the difficulties he encountered, he would express gratitude for them, seeing them as opportunities to practice virtue and strengthen his character. This is a powerful lesson. Gratitude isn't just for the good times. It's also for the tough times. When you face adversity, it's easy to get frustrated and angry. But the Stoics would encourage you to pause and ask, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow stronger through this challenge? This mindset turns hardship into an opportunity for growth, and it fosters a sense of gratitude for life itself, no matter how difficult it may seem. Now, let's reflect on how we can bring more gratitude into our daily lives. One of the simplest ways to practice gratitude is by taking a few moments each day to acknowledge what you're thankful for. It could be as simple as recognizing the support of a friend, the beauty of nature, or even the ability to breathe and be alive. When you start to make gratitude a daily habit, you'll notice a shift in your perspective. Things that once seemed mundane or taken for granted suddenly become precious. You'll start to appreciate the little things more. The warmth of the sun, a good meal, a kind gesture from someone else. All of these are gifts, and they deserve our gratitude. But gratitude doesn't stop at just appreciating what's around us. It also involves recognizing our own role in creating a life of meaning. Stoics would often express gratitude for the opportunities they had to practice virtue. For instance, if you have a chance to be patient in a stressful situation, it's an opportunity to practice self-control. If you encounter someone who challenges your views, it's an opportunity to practice empathy and understanding. These moments, though sometimes uncomfortable, are gifts that allow us to become better versions of ourselves. The practice of gratitude also helps us let go of the need for constant approval or validation from others. In a world that is obsessed with social media, likes, and followers, it's easy to tie our sense of worth to external validation. But when we practice gratitude, we begin to see that we don't need validation from the outside world. We already have everything we need within ourselves. Our worth isn't determined by how others see us. It's determined by how we live in accordance with our values. This is where gratitude intersects with another key Stoic practice: non-attachment. The Stoics understood that attachment to external things, whether it's people, possessions, or achievements, can be a source of suffering. But when we cultivate gratitude, we learn to appreciate what we have without becoming overly attached to it. We recognize that everything in life is temporary, and we find peace in knowing that we don't need anything outside ourselves to be happy. Gratitude also has the power to transform our relationships. When we express gratitude toward others, we deepen our connection with them. We acknowledge their value, their contributions, and their presence in our lives. This creates a cycle of appreciation and respect that strengthens our bonds with those around us. And when we approach relationships with gratitude, we are less likely to take others for granted or become resentful when things don't go as we'd hoped. In practicing gratitude, we also begin to embrace the idea of enough. In a society that constantly tells us we need more success, more possessions, more experiences, the Stoic philosophy reminds us that enough is actually a source of contentment. When we learn to appreciate what we already have, we stop chasing after more and begin to live fully in the present moment. And finally, gratitude reminds us that happiness doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. When we take the time to cultivate a mindset of gratitude, we realize that our happiness is not dependent on what we acquire or achieve. It's a byproduct of how we live our lives and how we engage with the world around us. By choosing to focus on gratitude, we move away from the endless cycle of wanting and striving, and we begin to experience a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. It's a powerful tool for shifting our mindset and creating a life of purpose. To wrap up everything we've covered, it all boils down to this: the Stoic path is not just a philosophical concept, it's a way of living. A way to cultivate inner peace, resilience, and joy, no matter the external circumstances. And at the core of Stoicism is a simple yet powerful principle: taking full responsibility for your life. The Stoics knew that we cannot control what happens to us, but we always have control over how we respond. This idea of personal responsibility is crucial. In our world today, it's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external factors for our unhappiness. We often point to our job, our relationships, our financial situation, or the state of the world as reasons for our dissatisfaction. But the Stoics teach us that the power to shape our lives lies within us. How we respond to the world, how we handle challenges, and how we choose to live each day is completely within our control. Taking responsibility for your life means understanding that you have the power to choose your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. It's about realizing that no one else can make you feel a certain way unless you allow it. This can be empowering and liberating. If you stop relying on external validation and instead look inward, you discover that you have everything you need to create the life you want. The Stoics would encourage you to examine your life and ask yourself, am I taking responsibility for the things I can control? Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I choosing actions that bring me closer to the person I want to become? These questions are a reminder to focus on what you can control and to let go of the things that are beyond your reach. Another aspect of Stoicism that deserves attention is its emphasis on virtue. Virtue, in Stoic terms, is the highest good. It's about living with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance in every aspect of your life. The Stoics believed that by cultivating these virtues, you would lead a fulfilled and meaningful life, one that is not dependent on external rewards or circumstances. Let's break down these virtues a bit. Wisdom, it's about making decisions based on reason and understanding, rather than impulse or emotion. Wisdom helps you navigate the complexities of life with clarity and confidence. It enables you to see the world as it truly is, not as you wish it would be. Courage. Courage is not just about fighting battles or facing danger. It's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult. It's about standing firm in your values, even when others challenge you. Courage allows you to face your fears and move forward despite uncertainty. Justice. Justice is about treating others with fairness, empathy, and respect. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and acting in ways that promote the common good. Justice isn't just about societal laws. It's about how we treat others, especially when no one is watching. Temperance. Temperance is the art of self-control. It's about moderation in all things. Whether it's food, drink, work, or even emotions, temperance allows you to live in balance. It helps you avoid excess and teaches you to appreciate the present moment without always chasing the next thing. By living in accordance with these virtues, the Stoics believed that you could achieve a life of contentment and peace, one that is immune to the ups and downs of fortune. The external world may be unpredictable, but your internal world, your character, your values, your actions, is entirely within your control. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great in theory, but how do I actually live this out? It starts with small, consistent actions. Every decision you make, every challenge you face, is an opportunity to practice virtue. You don't have to wait for a grand moment to start. Every day is an opportunity to live with intention, to make choices that reflect your values and to become a better version of yourself. This is where the power of daily reflection comes in. Taking a few moments each day to review your actions and thoughts helps you stay aligned with your goals and virtues. Reflect on your decisions, what went well, what could be improved, and how you can do better tomorrow. This practice of self-awareness helps you stay on track and ensures that you're living with purpose. Finally, remember that Stoicism isn't about perfection, it's about progress. No one is perfect and everyone makes mistakes. But the Stoics believed that every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. What matters is not how many times you fall, but how you rise again, each time with more wisdom, courage, and resilience. So, to live the Stoic way means embracing life as it is, with all its challenges and uncertainties. It means taking full responsibility for your responses and actions, living in alignment with your virtues, and using every moment as an opportunity for growth. It's not about avoiding hardship, it's about transforming hardship into a path for greater wisdom and strength. When you live like this, you unlock something powerful, a deep, unshakable joy that doesn't rely on external circumstances. A joy that comes from knowing that you are living in accordance with your values and that, no matter what life throws your way, you have the strength to handle it with grace and resilience. So, as we wrap up today's journey, I encourage you to take these lessons to heart. Reflect on how you're spending your time, how you're reacting to the world around you, and whether your actions are aligned with your values. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to live with intention, to cultivate virtue, and to build a life of meaning and fulfillment. Thank you for joining me in today's exploration of Stoic philosophy. I hope these principles resonate with you and that they inspire you to live with greater purpose, clarity, and joy. The Stoic way is a lifelong practice, but every step you take brings you closer to the life you want to live. Stay grounded, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.